Well, hello there everyone and welcome back to the channel. Adam here again. And today for you, I am going to be reviewing Sword Art Online Fatal Bullet for the PlayStation 4, the Xbox One, and the PC. Yes indeed, this game is a lot of fun. It's flawed in some ways, and we will get to that. For me personally though, I did enjoy this game quite a bit. Again, positives and negatives that I will again mention later on in the video, but for right now, I'm just gonna give a little bit of story to the game, and a little bit of other stuff as well that you may or may not find interesting. But there are not going to be any kind of game spoilers here. I will mention though, I will be spoiling a little bit of the Sword Art Online Gun Gale Online story. If you have not read the light novels, the mangas, or watched the anime, please be warned there will be spoilers to this. So if you don't want those spoilers, please maybe skip ahead a little bit, just to make sure you don't hear those. So anyway, Sword Art Online Fatal Bullet for the PlayStation 4, Xbox One, and PC is a very fun game. The controls feel as they should for a third-person game with a kind of like that typical Sword Art Online game feel. This one plays very good. The controls are very smooth, very adaptive. You'll learn them very quickly. The online play mode, which I will mention, is a very nice feature. I haven't used it much. I bought the game mostly for the story more than anything else, but the online play mode is pretty fun. Can't lie about that. The biggest issue that I have in this game, for me personally, is the lack of the English voice cast of Sword Art Online. That I will mention more in more detail in my positives and negatives segment. For the most part, this game is a lot of fun. When you first put the disc in your console, in my case, PlayStation 4, first thing I was greeted with was a patch. Yay, thanks a lot. After the patch installed and I launched the game, I'm greeted at the front menu. And then I go New Game, Create New Save, and from there you create your own character / avatar. The basic design of your character is pretty good, and the presets for a lot of the stuff is also very good, and the way that you can actually take these presets and edit them is also really nice, because it gives you that individuality, which is nice in a character creation. You also do have a selection of voices. Not that you hear the voices a lot in the game, because you don't. The main character doesn't really seem to voice at all, which is one of those kinds of games, which I'm okay with. And sometimes like a silent protagonist is sometimes a lot of fun, but sometimes you just like, could you just like, you know, say one or two words? He might say one or two words when you're like in combat or in the field of combat, so he won't be completely silent, but like during story segments where there's like a lot of characters talking, he won't say a lot, which is a little bit of a shtick for me. But apart from that, it's nothing to really write home about. Now then, small spoiler alert. Throughout the game, you're going to play the game almost as if the original cast of Sword Art Online have already gone through the whole death gun incident. That is actually not the case. Quite far into the game, you're going to be, I'd say, about one-fourth away from completing the game, and you're going to be presented with what's called Kirito mode, which is the mode that allows you to play as Kirito and fight Death Gun. This is a very condensed version of the Death Gun story from GGO Sword Art Online, but it's great to have it there because it makes it feel like it's all kind of come together and culminating. And then the end of the game is a whole new ending, which is also fun, but they kind of try to link it to Death Gun and also link it to the past of Sword Art Online and Aincrad, which is also kind of cool. Again, little mini spoilers, but nothing too bad that will completely ruin the game for you at all. Then we get to the positives and the negatives. Positives for me: cel-shaded graphics. Love cel-shaded graphics. Especially for anime games. They make the games look 3D, look anime style, and I love it. It's the best way to keep the anime style you would hope for in a game, but also with 3D graphics and not like 2D implementation. 3D graphics, cel-shaded, look great to me. I love it. Second positive for me would be, again, the controls of this game feel tight. They're really good and tight. Everything's easy to access. all your gadgets and powers and swapping of weapons and reloading and the aiming, everything works as it should. Which is good for a game like this because it's very fast-paced, very action-orientated. Gotta think on your feet and be very quick about what you do. Which, for a game like this, is good. You need that. My next positive is the fact that the story is just a lot of fun. The story's a lot of fun. You're going through the story mode, you're grinding, you're getting up your levels, you're increasing your stats and all that. You're getting new weapons, which is a lot of fun. And as you progress, the game doesn't always, especially through story mode, feel like a chore. It kind of feels like it's fun. On a negative note that I will mention in my actual negative issues is the grinding of the game can be a pain in the ass. I'll mention that in the negatives. My next positive point, and probably my final positive point, is the music and sound effects. Everything sounds correct to me. The music fits the scenes whenever it's played. Sound effects of the guns and weapons is also very good, as it should sound close enough to me. Like, I don't expect every gun to sound exact like a real one should, because that's just way too much time and effort and money, and it's not really good. It doesn't really make much of a difference. The guns sound as they should. Handguns sound like handguns. Shotguns sound like shotguns. Assault rifles and submachine pistols sound as they should. Same goes with sniper rifles and those laser guns and all that stuff. Everything sounds as you would think it should. Now we're going to get on to the negatives. And here's the one negative for me that will make this game lose quite a few marks for me. The lack of English voice cast. You have the original Japanese voice cast, which is fine, because a lot of people would prefer that. I'm sometimes in that boat, but sometimes I'm not. Sometimes I like to hear the original English voice cast as well as the Japanese. Sometimes I like to swap between the both, because it's fun to do that sometimes. But the lack of the English voice cast in this game, for me personally, lets it down quite a bit. It kind of feels like maybe they just didn't care about getting them in to record new audio lines for this game. It's what maybe some would call this a minor gripe, but for me personally, it's a pretty big one, because Sword Art Online is not just one of the most famous franchises in all of Japan right now. It's also very famous in the Western world. A lot of people love the light novels, the manga, the anime, the movies, the merchandise. Everyone loves it. So for me personally, as a lover of the franchise, I think you should get the English voice cast because people recognize them more than the Japanese. At least those who watch mainstream media anime do. You know, those of us that maybe are into the older stuff, maybe don't really care so much. Especially if you're into this, if this is the first time playing or doing anything with Sword Art Online, you might not care too much, which is fine. The next negative point for me is the lack of story DLC, which is kind of a bummer. The DLC you can buy is mostly either weapon packs, clothing packs, and mission add-ons, but they're not necessarily story add-ons, which is kind of a shame. Which I feel like if they were to make like a story add-on to Sword Art Online Fatal Bullet, it would be really, really fun. It doesn't have to be like anything like specific or serious, just like a little something, like maybe add an extra 50 or 100 missions, like some new kind of characters come in and done this and done that, and you're trying to stop them. That sort of thing would be fine by me. I'd spend money on that. That's my final negative point on this game. Now we're going to get to my scoring of the game and some little extra notes here or there. I'm going to give the game a 7.5 out of 10, because like I said, the biggest issues in this game for me personally are the lack of English voice cast and the lack of story DLC. It really does let the game down, especially with the English voice cast, because again, like I previously mentioned, the English voice cast is something that most people would like to hear in this game. I would love to hear it myself. Maybe Bandai Namco will add it in a future patch. I don't know. I don't think so. The game has been out for quite a while now. But I don't think so. It's kind of a shame. Hopefully the next Sword Art Online game, if we ever get one, does have the English voice cast. You know, we can all but hope. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining me on this review of Sword Art Online Fatal Bullet. Hope to see you again next time. Sayonara.